to or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Anne and this is All the Budgeting. I am on a journey to repair and recover from filing for Chapter 13 bankruptcy in November of 2021, and I utilize a cash envelope budgeting system to help me do that. And so what I do on this channel is I do paycheck cash stuffings, side hustle cash stuffings, I do cash condensing whenever I need to, and I close out my budget every month, which includes a net worth calculation. So if that is something that interests you, I do hope that you consider subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting, all that kind of stuff. So today I have a little bit of a different video for you, a bonus video, and it's going to be a budget with me. I've gotten some questions and I've also seen just some general questions posted in different Facebook groups of people who are new to this style of budgeting and just, are wondering how do you even start? And how do you figure out what goes into each envelope and, how much to ask the teller for so that you have all of the right denominations. So I thought, let me do a start to finish budget with me so that you can see kind of how I break down my budget for each paycheck and figure out what is going to go into each envelope. So this video is going to be a little bit of back and forth between me working with my budget planner, and I will be jumping into my computer to screen share some things in Excel, because I do use a combination of Excel and my planner for each paycheck every time I am working with my budget. So hopefully you guys will find this helpful. So I am working on my second paycheck for the month of September. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. So I get paid on the 6th and the 21st of each month. So I'm working in the planner that I designed, and I have links to find this planner on Etsy. It's available as a digital planner like you see here, also as a printable. And then I also do have already printed bound paperback options on Amazon as well. So all of that is linked in the description bar, or the description box, I should say. So first I'm going to go to my August budget because I do get paid twice a month and I'm salaried. A lot of the information is the same. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste a lot of it as a starting point. So I'm going to first go to my side hustle budget because my second paycheck sheets are after that. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy all of this. So I use GoodNotes with my digital planner. And so there's this lasso tool, which makes it really easy. So I can just draw, oops, sometimes it's a little fussy. So I'm just going to draw a circle around that and copy. And then I'm going to come to September. Here I am here, and I'm going to paste, and I'm going to move things around. Okay, but not everything is valid for this one. So for this paycheck, I'm just going to have my paycheck and rollover. So I'm going to go ahead and lasso these two things, and I can just delete them. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to lasso the total because I know that's going to be different. And then I'm not going to do anything here yet, but I do think that some things are going to change a little bit. But let me go back to August and go to my second page and copy and paste there. And so I'm going to do this in two batches here. So I'm just going to copy this paste that here. This is why I do like the digital planner. It's funny because for most things, I'm definitely a paper planner person. Like I could not live without a paper to-do list. But for this purpose, I really do like the digital because it does make it real simple to just copy and paste. Alrighty. Okay, so that's a good starting point. So right now I'm gonna go jump into Excel to show you how I figure out exactly what my full, income is and my fixed bills and expenses. So let me jump into my computer. Okay, so I'm here in Excel, and so I have a budget sheet where I have listed out for both paychecks the bills and set expenses that are going to come out of each paycheck. So here I have for my 21st budget, I have the bill or expense, how much I budget, and then what the actual is. And what I do on payday is I have another Excel spreadsheet that is basically my checking account register where I, list all of my transactions and that kind of thing. And so what I do on payday is I go through and I put all of these expenses in my checkbook register and I highlight them in yellow if it is a future dated transaction, because what I want to get to is basically what am I left with after all of my expenses are taken care of. And then it's just a matter of, keeping track of when those transactions do post and looking to see was the actual amount more or less. In general, it stays about the same. Okay. So, but I do just kind of track that. And so once something does go through, then I come back to this budget sheet and I take the yellow shading off so that I can see all of the things that have hit my account. And if anything is more or less, then I reflect that in the actual column so that for the next time I can adjust my budgeted amount accordingly if necessary. So you can see that out of my budget for the 21st of each month, I pay my mortgage, I pay my car payment, I pay my car insurance. I have some things like Spotify, Apple TV, Hulu that come out. I budget $100 for each paycheck for gas. I do work from home, so I don't drive all that much. So $100 is more than enough for me, even with these really high gas prices. So one of the reasons why I'm very fortunate to be able to work from home. The trustee payment. So this is kind of the balance of my Chapter 13 bankruptcy payment. The bulk of it comes out of my paycheck from the 6th, but I do have just a little bit left over. And then there is an automatic payment that happens shortly after the 21st paycheck. So that is that. I do always have a buffer, and sometimes it varies. I want it to be around $50, but I also always want to have when I'm left with what I'm going to be withdrawing to stuff into envelopes. I like to have either, ending with a 0 or a 5. So sometimes that buffer does change depending on that. I do have a cleaning service that I account for. I do have my AC unit that I'm still paying off, so that comes out of the 21st. And then I'm currently saving up to renew a wax pass that will come due in November, and the goal is that this will then pay for the entire next year. So that is everything here. So you can see that my budgeted amount for this paycheck of like fixed bills and expenses was $29.13, but what I am actually looks like what I'm going to end with is 2906, but we'll see how that varies a little bit when I add in rollover when I get to my planner. But then I have this amount. So this is everything that I would be withdrawing in cash to stuff into envelopes. So I have my groceries, my spending, my hair expense, my emergency fund. I always budget a minimum of $100 into my sinking funds, but then I always add rollover to that to add more. But there's that. I always budget either $70 or $60 a paycheck for health. And then I do have extra, and that's because I've said this in a few videos. I did receive a raise and a promotion earlier this year that I wasn't really expecting. And so I am putting all of that money into, bulking up some funds. And then once I have bulked those up, I will then put that all towards my debt. That'll be next year sometime that'll start. But so you can see right now, out of just the paycheck, I'm looking to withdraw about $1,015. And then you can see that I plan for my total income. Again, I'm salaried, so it's pretty much usually around, the same $3,928. You can see that this time it was slightly less. And that is just because I had cashed in some performance points to get a gift card, and I am taxed on that. So it was about $7. And so I actually did take that out of my buffer, just so you can see that. So that's how I break this down. And so now I'll go back to my planner because I want to make sure that I am putting all of these bills and expenses into my planner so that I can see, and I'm going to add in my rollover to my income. So now I can see then how much do I really have left over to stuff. And then we'll come back here so that I can show you how I figure out what goes into each envelope. Okay, so we'll hop back to my planner. Okay, so now we get to figure all this out. So I'm going to actually get rid of these amounts. And sorry if you can hear my cat running around. He's suddenly got a ton of energy. So, okay, so my paycheck amount, as we saw, was $3,921. And then I actually had $200 in rollover this paycheck. And if you're new here, rollover is whatever is left from either the bills that I have budgeted for. If any come in less than what I had budgeted, I keep that money aside for rollover, as well as any money left over from my groceries and from my spending each week. I just put into rollover. And then I, add it so that I have more to stuff in my envelopes. So that means then that I have a total of $4,121 of income, right? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm just looking here on my Excel sheet to make sure that I have everything accounted for. Okay, yeah, so gas is less because I think last month it was a extra week, so I had accounted for that. So we're gonna say 100 for gas, and then I do just have my wax pass that we're adding in here. So wax pass, and that will be just 35 for this one. And it's really easy just to kind of move things around in Good Notes. So let me get rid of these and total these up here. Okay. I'm just gonna do it with my calculator here. I'm not going to count the buffer just yet because, again, I like to have things either ending with a 0 or a 5. So I want to see what my total is without my buffer. Okay. So I have a total of 2,861. Okay. And I have an income of 4,121. So I think what that means then is I want to have $50 for my buffer here, which I know is different than what I had in my sheet, and that's fine. It all works out. Okay, and so I'm going to add $50 here. And so my total bills and expenses is $2,911. And so I'm going to take 4,121 and subtract 2,911. Yeah, so that's going to leave me a total of $1,210 to stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to come to this page because this generally stays the same. I do have some higher amounts in groceries and spending here because, again, last month was a extra week paycheck. So sorry, I'm just trying to get here on my sheet. Yep. Yeah. So I'm just going to change those amounts here. So I'm going to delete that. So groceries is just my standard 300 and spending is 200. The rest of these, oh, health is not this much. So we're going to delete that. And that is 70. And let's just get these lined up a little bit better. Okay, so now I'll add this. So 300 plus 200 plus 100 plus 50 plus 70. So 720 here. And then I was left with $1,210. So 1,210 minus 720. And so that means I have $490 to put in my sinking funds, which is amazing. So I'm going to come here because this is going to be, these amounts are going to be different. Delete those. Oops. And delete those. Okay, so $490 is what we're going to put into sinking funds, but 195 of that is going to all go to pet care. So I'm going to jump back into screen share to show you now how I figure out how much each envelope is going to get. All right, so I'll see you over there. Okay, so now we're back in my computer and I have another Excel sheet for my sinking funds. And so in this sheet, this is where I can calculate what each of my categories, what each envelope is going to receive. First, I want to just go through because I've seen people ask these questions of, well, how do you determine what goes into each category? And so I will say that, your budget is very personal, right? And so what my categories are might be very different from what your categories are. I don't have children. I'm single. It's just me. It's just me and my cat. So, what I am saving for and working towards might be very different from what you are dealing with. So that's the first thing that I will say. And so what I did is I basically came up with all of these different categories of what I do want to put money aside for. And then I just kind of figured out, in a perfect world, right? If I had no other debt, um, how much would I want to put towards save, in total each month in each of these categories in a perfect world. And in some cases it's kind of arbitrary, right? And in other cases it is based on an overall goal. So for example, extra week. There are 4 extra weeks each year for me. And for each one, I need $300. So that's $1,200 divided by 12 is $100 a month, ideally, is what I would put towards this. Same with Christmas. I figured out, how much do I need or want total, etc. So, whatever that is for you, just write them all down. And then what I did is just totaled them. And then I did a calculation of, what is this amount? What percentage is this amount of the total? And that's how I came up with these amounts. And then in this first tab, then this is where, so I have all of my categories and I have them color coded based on what priority they are. And then I brought over those percentages. And then there is a formula that whatever amount I am stuffing for that paycheck, I put that in here and then it automatically calculates. And then I can, um, make adjustments, because I do like to have all of my envelopes end with a 0 or a 5. I just don't like to deal with singles. So this column gives me just based on the percentage, and then I can adjust from here. So what we're left with to stuff after all of my fixed expenses was $490. But I know that pet care is getting a big chunk of that. So I want to reduce that 490 by 195, because otherwise all of my percentages are going to be out of whack. So if I subtract 195 from 490, I'm left with 295. So that is what I'm going to put in here. Okay. And so again, now this is just, making adjustments. And then I should also say that I have this column totaled so that I can make sure that it equals that amount to stuff. Okay, so for extra debt, I'm going to give that 35 and I'm going to give subscriptions 30. And then all of these I'm going to do 20, except for pet care. And then all of these I'm going to give 10. Oh, wow. Okay, doesn't always come out perfectly like that. But yeah, I just kind of play with it until I get to numbers that I like. So yeah, so that's really it. I would encourage you to just start with, your different categories. In an ideal world, how much would you be able to put aside to them? Or is there a specific amount that you need to save in a time frame? And then you can just do the math that way. And then you can kind of break it down here. And then Excel makes it really easy with just putting in percentages. So okay, so now let's go back into my planner and put all of these amounts in and just finish it out. Okay, so now I am going to put these amounts in here. Okay, so extra debt is getting 35. Home maintenance is getting 20. And I'll wait and I'll copy those amounts down. Pet care is getting 195. Subscriptions is getting 30. And then holiday dinner down is getting 10. Okay, so now I'm just going to copy these. holiday dinner. And what I end up doing, I mean, if you've watched before, I have 3 different priority binders, right? And so all of these that are getting $10, these are lower priorities. And so, you know, if I had a lighter paycheck, a lighter rollover, and I, you know, really wanted to focus my money into those higher priority, then these might not get any. But in general, I like for all of my envelopes to get at least something. So, all right, so I'm just gonna do a quick calculation just to double check that I'm at $4.90. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 20, 40. And 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Yep, $4.90. So I have a zero-based budget. It's kind of the goal. Every dollar is accounted for. Okay, so now I need to figure out what are my denominations. Okay, so I have these cash breakdown sheets to help me do that. But it's everything on this page, right? So what I am withdrawing from the bank in cash to stuff is $1,210. Okay, so I'm gonna write that up here. And I have so many envelopes and categories that I actually need 2 pages of this. So I'll show you how I figure that out. Okay, so again, using the lasso tool, I'm going to take all of this and paste it here. Now you just got to play with it a little bit because it obviously doesn't line up exactly right. So we're gonna move all that over, and I'm gonna just move this around a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to my last paycheck so I can get through, for my sinking funds, I can get through miscellaneous on this first page. So I'm gonna come back here and I'm going to lasso everything through miscellaneous. Actually, no, I'm not going to, because it's not all gonna fit on one page. So I'm gonna do it in batches. So I'm gonna do maybe this much. And again, I just gotta move that over and then clean this up a bit. What I should do is just save a template of this with these funds, and then just have to fill in the amounts, because the funds pretty much stay the same each time. All right, oops. back here. So then Christmas, gosh, I keep forgetting the Christmas through miscellaneous. Okay. Oh, actually, it's not miscellaneous. I think I didn't have maybe hair last time, so that's okay. Miscellaneous will just go on the next page. Not a big deal. Okay, and so then coming back over here, yep, miscellaneous through planner stuff, I will circle. And that'll go on this page. Okay, and then what I like to do here is total from first page, and I'll show you what I do there. Okay, and then I'm gonna again write the total in here, which is $1,210. Okay, so then what I do is I come here and I just start writing in my denominations. So for groceries, I like to have 2 $100 bills and 2 50s. For spending, I like that to be all in 20s. So I'm going to say 10 20s. For hair, this next one, oh gosh, I can't remember. It is my, it's what's called a color tap. So I like to have smaller denominations. And so I like to have 5 singles, 1 5. So that's 10. I think, is it 3 10s? Oh gosh, I know it's 150. Okay, so that's 60 plus a 20. Think, so that's 80, and so then 2 10s, yeah, because that's 50 plus 20 plus 20 plus 10. Yep. Okay, emergency, I like a 50, health 50 and a 20. So I just, kind of come here and I get the smallest, denominations I can, right? So extra debt, so that'll be a 20, a 10, and a 5. Maintenance, a 20, 20, 20. Okay, pet care, I have a 100, a 50, 2 20s, and a 5. 20, 20, 20, and a 10. 20, 20. Okay, and then these are all 10s. All right, so then what I do before I go to the next page is I count up each of these denominations, right? So I have 3 100s. 50s, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 50s. Oops. 20s, I have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Tens, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fives, I have 1, 2, 3. And then singles, I have 5. Then what I do is I lasso just that total line here. Copy that and paste it here, because then I don't have to go back and forth. And actually I'm going to go ahead, because you can see I only have some 10s here, so I'm actually going to paste it down here as well, and I'm just going to need to adjust the 10s. Okay, so 10s, I'm just doing, whoops, 10s here. Okay, so it's going to be 13 10s instead of 9. And so all I just need to do here is come here. I'm going to erase that 9 and add in, oops, a 13. Okay, and then I'm going to calculate the amount, right? So if I have 3 $100 bills, then I have 300. Same with our 50s. If I have 6 50s, I have 300. 23 times 20 is 460. 13 times 10 is 130. 3 times 5 is 15, and then 5 ones. And then I just want to total this up, make sure I have $1,210. So plus 460 plus 130 plus 15 plus 5. Yep, $1,210. And so then I have my cash breakdown slips that I make and sell on Etsy. And so I just cut one of those and fill in these denominations and amounts and do my withdrawal slip, and I bring that to the teller. So that's it. That is my process for my budget each paycheck. Pretty straightforward. Doesn't change a ton, but there are some adjustments that do get made each time, mostly because of that rollover. But sometimes as you saw, my bills do change slightly. So yeah, that is it. So I hope that was helpful. Just remember, this is a very personal thing for everybody, right? So, your categories might be very different than mine. I don't have kids. I'm not saving for, somebody's college education or for braces or for sporting events, right? My budget, my money is mine. My focus right now is paying off this bankruptcy and getting out of debt. So, but the reason why some people ask me, why do I have all these categories? Why don't I just put everything towards debt? Yes, that would be great. But because I am in an active bankruptcy, I do not have any personal credit cards. So life still happens, right? Even when you're trying to pay off debt. And so why I am, putting into these different funds is so that when stuff does happen, I have money to pay for things, right? So, but that's also why I categorize and prioritize these funds differently, because obviously things like home maintenance, car maintenance, health, those need to be higher priorities, right? Because those do tend to be pretty expensive. I'm not going to put as much money into, my clothes or my beauty envelope as I do those categories, because that would be kind of irresponsible for me right now. Maybe at some point I would put more towards that, right? If all my debt is paid and, now I have more flexibility and freedom with my money, then, then I can start to put more towards these amounts. Also, yeah, I know I could cut out some of those streaming services and things like that and have more money towards debt. I absolutely could do that. I did do that for a long time. But, I'm happy with how I have set my budget. I'm very comfortable with it. In terms of my bankruptcy, my creditors are getting 100% of the money that I owe them, and they will actually get it sooner than the bankruptcy plan has it as. So I have no issue with how I am allocating funds. So just in case anybody wants to give me unsolicited advice of how to pare down my budget, I'm not looking to do that right now. If I decide to do that, that's my decision. So just wanted to kind of preface that because some people, like to be very opinionated in the comment section. So I'm not looking for advice at this point. I just wanted to do this to show somebody in case it helped anybody. So, all right. Well, hope you enjoyed this little bonus video, and hope it was helpful to someone out there. And I will see you next for the stuffing of this budget. All right. See you later. Thanks. Bye.